Disney made quite a few billion dollars this quarter. Florida's leading property and market indicators are up once again. And finally, I gave you 5 keys for successful property investing. Hey everyone, this is Chris Granier with America Homes and another action-packed episode of Coffee with Chris on this beautiful Friday, November 6, 2015 from Orlando, Florida. Now, as you would expect, Disney's making a ton of money. When you're paying $5 for a bottle of water at the parks, they're definitely pulling in some good revenue. But fortunately, they just released their fourth quarter numbers and they have a record-breaking $4.4 billion in revenue in the fourth quarter of this year. That's up from $3.9 billion from last year. So even with all of the good things happening in the local market and everything else around the entire country, even Disney is cashing in on the tremendous economy and booming market that's happening here in Florida, with tourists obviously coming in from all over the world. So Disney is obviously a great anchor for Central Florida. It's pretty much what made the entire economy happen here. But, you know, when Disney's doing good, it's a terrific indicator that everything else is doing well around it in pretty much all of Florida, never mind just Orlando and the local markets here. But, you know, when you're pulling in $4.4 billion in revenue a quarter, those are some tremendous numbers, not just for the stockholders and the shareholders, but also all of the 75 or so thousand employees that Disney has at Walt Disney World here in Kissimmee, Florida. Finally, I want to leave you today with 5 keys for successful property investing. A lot of times I speak to investors from all over the world, from multiple countries, looking for different style properties, whether it's a holiday home, investment property, and everything in between, secondary house, anything you could possibly imagine. I've certainly heard. I've sold quite a few hundred properties and I've spoken to thousands of investors from every corner of the globe. So 5 quick key points that you want to make sure, whether you purchase a property in Florida or pretty much anywhere else in the world, you want to make sure, number one, you're working with a licensed real estate brokerage. Now, a lot of companies throughout the world don't necessarily operate under these guidelines. They kind of operate in a gray area, selling properties in another country that they don't even necessarily live in, and they might not even know the property any better than you do. So they're kind of one of those companies where you want to potentially shy away from and make sure you're dealing with a good local fully licensed real estate brokerage, because obviously not only do we want to get you the best property, but we want to operate in the most smooth and federal and local guidelines that are mandated to make sure that you are doing the right thing with the right people. Another thing that you want to keep a lookout for in this market is make sure you're dealing with properties at foreclosure prices and that you're getting a good deal on a property and you're not just paying retail. Obviously, there are thousands of properties available in the market today, but we really only distribute quite a few of the best deals, because there's no point in selling you a property for $200,000 that's only worth $200,000. We want to be able to put a property in front of you that's for sale for maybe $150,000 that's worth $200,000. And those are very few and far between, but which is why one of the reasons you only see quite a few properties from us every now and then, rather than just 10 to 15 properties a week. We will be more than happy to help you find a property no matter the guidelines and no matter what your budget is, but we always like to make sure that you're getting a tremendous deal. One of the key aspects as well, too, that a lot of people want to make sure they do is work with a good licensed property management company. Now, a property management company actually falls under the same guidelines as a real estate brokerage. They have to be fully licensed, they have to operate under the guidelines of a broker, and abide by all of the state and federal rules that go through the property management channels. So when you deal with a good property management company, not only is it good for the tenant, it's good for the investor, but it makes everything go much, much smoother, and you definitely know that you're getting the right type of oversee of your investment. One of the key things as well is you want to focus on strong markets. Obviously, we're located in Orlando. It's a market that's known around the world. It's definitely taken a big beating in the housing crisis and the global financial crisis in 2008, but fortunately it's made a complete turnaround and we are a much stronger and healthier market. But not only that, but you could be anywhere else in the world. And you mentioned Walt Disney World or you mentioned Orlando, and there's that familiar tone to pretty much everybody you mentioned that too. Now, don't get me wrong, there's obviously undoubtedly strong markets all throughout the world, but for the bang for your buck, what you can buy for 100,000 pounds or so here in Orlando, it definitely outweighs what you can buy in a lot of those other strong markets throughout the world. And finally, one of the key things and the final point that I always want to say is have a strategy. A lot of people look at properties and they say, I want a holiday home, but I want to rent it when I'm not using it, but I'm not quite sure what to expect in that manner, or maybe I want to rent it out for now and maybe live it in the future, or I'm going to use it for a holiday home and maybe rent it out for a week or two out of the year when I'm not using it, but we'll see. Or you're thinking, I'm going to buy it now and maybe flip it in the future or rent it out, or maybe my friends are going to use it. There's a bunch of scenarios I've heard that you could pretty much write a laundry list a mile long with. But when you have one specific purpose in mind, let's say I'm going to buy this property and I'm going to rent it out full term, it's a strictly buy to let, that's tremendous. Or if you say I want a holiday home, I'm going to use it 2 to 3 weeks out of the year and I'm going to hopefully rent it out for the majority of the time I'm not using it, that's perfect. Have a clear-cut strategy and you're definitely going to be on the way of having a successful investment property. So that pretty much sums it up for this Friday. I hope you have a fantastic weekend. If you have any questions, please feel free to call or email me. I'm available at all times. I'll be definitely happy to help. This is Chris with America Homes, and I look forward to hearing from you soon.